I usually try to get to know all of the artists that come to the stage. It's really important for me to either start to know their work, be excited about something that I've seen so that we do a studio visit, so that I can really get up here and speak with enthusiasm. And so this next person that I'm introducing, I have to say I'm really excited to introduce as well as the other artists because he is someone who I think has been working really diligently as one of the local artists in our program. He and Miro are both NOCA grads.
Ow!
And
woo!
Yeah, NOCA is in the house. And just really, I mean, honestly represent the city very well out in the field, right? And represent what New Orleans education is and can do. Paul was born in New Orleans, and he works predominantly with acrylics on both wood and other mediums, lots of mixed media, and went to Parsons New School for Design, where he Parsons in the house. I like this, it gives a speakeasy sound down. Went to Parsons, and then has also received a lot of training both from the Guggenheim Museum Theater, the George Rodriguez Gallery, and the Contemporary Art Center, where he's been working on a number of projects, both apprenticing and really learning under artists and arts administrators. Miro also is an artist who's worked extensively with Yaya and received an Adeline Edwards Award in 2014. And I've had the pleasure of sitting on that panel, getting to know Paul's work, and being really excited about what he's going to present tonight. He's explained to me that he's a little nervous. So I wonder if
you got this, Paul. Woo! Hey!
And there's also this weird thing that my oldest son, some of you know him, kind of look like Paul. So I have this like affinity for him when I stand up next to him. So warm welcome for Paul Wright.
Yeah, Paul.
Again, I'm Paul Wright. Born and raised here in New Orleans. Great to see all you guys, new and old faces. My mentor, Ron Darren.
Yeah, Ron.
All you guys.
Woo!
So nice to
Yeah.
Let's get this started and over. This is one of the projects that I think, in order to understand my work, working with the Guggenheim Museum, also with my mentor Ron Darren, we found out this kind of really dictated my life in the arts and how I work in my process and the type of materials that I use. So back in 2009, I had a great opportunity to travel to New York and put on a show with the Guggenheim along with my great mentor and 4 other artists who just taught me so much about my process and what kind of mold I want to put into the art world. This was the original design for that. Although, with this project, I just learned a lot about trial and error, designing, finding new materials, and sometimes the design doesn't always look like the finished product, but, keep it going. This is the final product, and I was totally happy with the whole thing. And again, the project just totally changed my aspect around for art. Again, this is the guy in charge. This is Ron Darren Radliff. He did works a lot with found out. So this piece was the wolf of the project. And this is a few photos from the project. Actually, the show in Guggenheim. I don't know if you guys know who Isaiah Maserati is, but he's pretty big deal.
Pretty big deal.
Don't make me laugh. Okay. And this is they had a lot of orchestra, so it was a very beautiful set, and a lot of the children came out, and every year they commissioned artists to do it. So it was just a really great project to be a part of. Again, like I said, I work with found objects, so this kind of started my use of found objects. At this time, I was at NOCA, where, again, I wanted to kind of demonstrate my background being a part of Yaya, and being with NOCA, like that technical skill, and also being able to think outside of the box of using found objects. So, again, at NOCA, we use a lot of direct observation, so I'm not into myself a lot. We just had to paint a lot from real life, so I don't think I'm processing this. Oh, sorry. Okay, this is one of my favorite pieces I've done. do acrylic, but I also love oil pastel. I won first place in this contest. I don't think this contest is actually around anymore, but the Cox contest, won first place in there at the NOMA, and just great recognition for it, for the love of the city. So it's going to be out next year on t-shirts, so feel free to cop one.
Hey.
Yeah, then again, this was my last year at NOCA, and then again, I used a lot of found objects. At the time, I was working at this bookstore / coffee shop, and you know, that was a year my boss was turning over, so I was like, why throw away all these books when I can just use it for a canvas, you know what I mean? So this is one of my favorite series that I've done, actually my first series that I've done, and just, when you think less about projects, that's when they turned out the best. So this, I thought less about it, I just worked, and came out with this final project, and was able to actually sell this piece and use it towards my tuition going to college.
Woo!
Little close-up of that piece. By the way, this is my little brother. I love him so much. Like,
Shout out to Jalil.
My work, my family, obviously my friends inspire a lot of my work, but I'm really close to my little brother. He's 10 years old now. He's about 6 years old in this picture. Another picture from this series. A little close-up of that one. Again, I use this series to apply to school and ended up getting a scholarship for it. And this is another close-up of my fiance. This is the last piece I actually did at NOCA that got an honorable recognition with the Arts Council. Again, I'm not narcissistic. I use a lot of direct observation to understand myself and understand tones and figures and stuff like that. So that was that piece. It's called Painter's Progress. A little close-up of that piece. Like I said, a lot of direct observation. This is actually a series that I started while at Parsons. You'd be surprised, a lot of people don't use direct observation in college, but a lot of my professors were just blown away by the fact that I work a lot with direct observation. So this piece is called Man versus Self, and this series kind of talks about how, well, being a Southern boy from New Orleans, moving to New York was a huge change for me, and it kind of just taught me a lot about myself, like what I could take, bending and breaking kind of thing. So this series is kind of dedicated to that change. Like obviously I was in New York, still painting New Orleans style houses. This one piece is called Man versus Society, how we see society, how the society kind of dictates us and how we move emotionally and physically. Again, this is another piece from that series. And while I was there, I had a chance of meeting a great individual who lived in New York, born and raised in New York, but was going through really traumatic things, and just kind of added to that series, talking about man versus self, about how sometimes we get in our own ways, and sometimes the person who we are now and the person who we want to become is, you know, pretty connected in a way that kind of dictates our future. This is that piece. This year I showed at Prescott Gallery in July and ended up selling this piece. That's kind of like the series. It was called Crystalline, Prescott Gallery, really amazing space. You guys should check it out. And then this year has totally transformed. I moved back from New York this year, and my arts community again welcomed me back with open arms. This year I got my first grant ever, which I'm super proud of, with the Adeline Edwards Foundation for a creative venture. That one of those, you know, those projects, those babies that you hold really close to you. I had a chance to actually do a grant proposal for that, and actually got a grant for it. And this is the video for that project. You can go ahead and play it. Again, before you play it, real quick, my friend Amber Matthews, amazing vocalist. She works very closely with me, inspires me every day. So you can go ahead and play the video.
Nature passively translates the complex understandings of society into a visual language that resonates in our lives. The series focuses on nature as a reflection of beauty in ourselves and our lives that are often overlooked. Birds especially are an ideal subject because they are relatively everywhere. They are the guardians of our lives and can walk the earth and swim the sea as humans do. They also have the ability to soar the sky, which represents humans' unrealized potential for freedom. another way of living. So close, I really thought that you were giving. I allow myself a moment to be.
Sweet. Alright, so for this series that I'm working on now, John Mitchell has given me a great studio to help me hone those skills and really get to work on this series. It's inspired by the Fisher-Price music movie box, which I know as a kid, I had a lot of these toys. But it tells like stories like Roll Roll Your Boat and with a little tune. But in this series, what I'm basically doing is taking that imagery and replacing it with something more relative. Growing up here in New Orleans has definitely been just dictated my whole art career. So I kind of want to replace it with those relative stories. And again, I'm working with my friend Amber Matthews, who's a great vocalist, and replacing those music movie sounds and just showing New Orleans that, you know, through all these great triumphs, although sometimes it's really bad, it creates something very beautiful. So this is me, one of my studio visits, working on that piece. This is one of the latest pieces that I've started working on. Again, like this series kind of talks about human development and nature and how nature sometimes unconsciously takes over, you know. So for this next piece, again, this is my friend Amber, inspires me all the time. So in this piece, it just talks about how sometimes we are our greatest enemy, and sometimes we are our best friend, and sometimes it's about defiling and opening up to our better self, surrendering to our better self. You know?
Yeah, Paul.
This is another one of those pieces. And you can go ahead and play this one. This is an example of my take on the music movie box. So again, like I'm using found objects. In this piece, I use a treadmill to kind of dictate that same form in the music movie box, creating moving pictures and kind of telling that story. And this is the last slide of me in my studio, and this is my first time ever owning my own studio, so this year alone has been very magical, and I want to thank John Mitchell for having me and having me a part of the John Mitchell family.
Yeah, Paul. Oh! Woo! Yeah! Oh!
Not so bad, right?
No, you're good. Thanks.
Questions, comments about Paul's work? Our neighbor and subcontractor, Danny Wright.
Hey man, to say that you was nervous, you nailed that.
Yeah, Paul. Oh!
Other comments, questions? Yes. Fellow artist Jose Torres-Tama.
Thank you. Wow, just really beautiful, poetic. The imagery is just really moving. And the box idea, I remember having one of those. That's just fucking brilliant.
Yeah, Paul.
It's just really, wow. And the figurative work, and the way the figurative work moves into the abstract, and the collages, the painting. I love painting on wood. Yeah, and your handling of the figure is just really strong. So, wow, very moving work and very meaningful, especially sometimes in the landscape where there's such a lack of work that really speaks to what some of the struggles are, especially right now, you know, with so many, with the Black Lives Matter issues and basically the hunting down of men of color, right? So it's really beautiful for you to glorify that body. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
Paul.
much. Thank you, I really appreciate it.
All right.
Hi. I was curious. I'm being born and raised in New Orleans myself, and knowing what art can do for you. And most people born and raised here don't get the opportunity to leave, and some don't get to see the rest of the world. And you had this amazing opportunity to travel with your art form. And when did you really realize this is something that this is what you were meant to do? What was the first initial thing?
I would have to say being a part of Yaya, I mean, did it just make you feel like